All right, let's talk about your career in finance. We're not just going to go over class material today. Think of this as a roadmap, a strategic guide to take everything you're learning and turn it into a real professional launchpad. Ready? Let's dive in.
So let me ask you something, and I want you to really think about it. That master's degree you're working so hard for, is that the finish line, the destination? Or is it actually the starting line for a much bigger race? Because how you answer that question, it pretty much changes everything.
Because here's the thing. Your education, it's a huge investment, right? Not just in money, but in your time, your energy. It's an investment in your own human capital. And the real payoff, the real return on that investment, it isn't just that diploma. Nope. The actual goal is to become what we call career ready.
Okay, so what in the world does career ready even mean? It's way more than just knowing stuff from a textbook. It means you're a niche expert. You've got deep knowledge, but you also have strong communication skills, a solid professional network, and maybe the most important thing of all, sound judgment. Basically, you're the whole package. All right, so that's the goal. The question is, how do we get there? Well, it all starts with building your professional toolkit. So let's break down exactly what skills you're going to need.
Okay, these are the big ones, the absolute fundamentals. Look, you're already sharpening your analytical skills. That's a given. But employers, they're looking for more. They want to see amazing communication, they want to see that you can network effectively, and they're looking for that one thing that makes you stand out, a real niche expertise.
But here's a reality check, and this is super important. Your classes, they give you the foundation, the building blocks, but they are not designed to turn you into a niche expert. That last part, that comes from you. It comes from your own passion and a whole lot of practice.
And this is how that transformation happens, right? This is how you turn knowledge into actual value. You take what you're learning in the classroom, you apply it to solve real-world problems, and along the way, you find your passion. You figure out what you really love to do. And the best part? All of that experience? It gives you incredible stories to tell when you walk into a job interview.
Okay, so we need experience, we need stories. Got it. But where do we find them? Let's pull out the map and look at all the opportunities that are waiting for you right now, just outside your classroom.
Generally, you've got two main roads you can go down, and honestly, you can travel both at the same time. On one hand, you've got all these university resources. I'm talking hands-on, project-based learning that's literally right there for you. And on the other hand, you've got professional certifications. These are the industry-recognized credentials that basically scream, hey, I'm serious about this.
So let's start with the university side. You've got some incredible stuff available. Things like work experience simulations, you've got the College of Business Centers and Labs, the Vertically Integrated Projects Program, even the Small Business Development Center. All of these are specifically designed to give you that hands-on, practical experience we keep talking about.
Now for the certifications. These are the heavy hitters, for sure. When you go for something like the CFA, the CPA, or the FRM, you're not just learning stuff. You're sending a massive signal to employers that you are absolutely committed to your field. It's like a stamp of approval, a real mark of credibility.
And of course, we cannot forget about networking. You've all heard that saying, your network is your net worth. And trust me, in finance, it couldn't be more true. So where do you start? The easiest, best place to begin building that network is right now, in student clubs and societies. Think of it as your training ground for the real world.
Okay, so you've got the tools, you know the skills, you see the opportunities. Now, let's talk about putting it all together to reach the very top. Let's talk about what it takes to achieve true expertise.
Doing all this stuff, building your toolkit, getting experience, that'll make you a good professional, no doubt. But what's that secret sauce? What's the one thing that separates someone who's just good from someone who is truly elite?
Well, it really comes down to something you've probably heard of, the 10,000-hour rule. It comes from some fascinating research by a guy named Anders Ericsson, and it was made famous in the book Outliers. The idea is actually pretty simple. To get truly excellent at something complex, it takes a massive amount of practice. And that magic number? It's about 10,000 hours.
You know, the original study looked at violinists, and it found this really clear pattern. By the time they were 20 years old, the good performers had practiced for about 8,000 hours. But the ones who were considered world-class, the elite, every single one of them had already passed 10,000 hours. So the difference between good and great, it wasn't just some innate talent. It was a huge, huge difference in hours of practice.
So let's bring this back to your career in finance. What does this actually look like? Well, the math is pretty simple. If you work a standard 40-hour week, you'll hit that elite 10,000-hour mark in about 5 years. But what if you push it to 60 hours a week?
Well, then you can get there in under 4. Your career timeline, how fast you get to the top, is directly connected to the hours you're willing to put in.
And that brings us to the end, and to one final challenge for you. Because really, this all comes down to one thing: the price of success.
10,000. It's not just some random number they pulled out of the hat. The research suggests it's the cost of admission. It's the price you have to pay for true elite-level mastery.
There's a great quote from Scott Adams that just nails this. He said, "If you want success, figure out the price, then pay it." And we've just figured out the price, haven't we? It's 10,000 hours. The truth is, success is not an accident. It's a transaction.
So we're going to end right where we started, with a question for you. You've got the map, you know what tools you need, and now you know the price of becoming elite. So the only question left is, what price are you willing to pay?